Welcome back to CTV Morning Live. It's time for Ask the Expert, and our good friends from Recycle Frog are here to answer your questions today. There's the phone number, 613-789-6559, extension 2803. You can also email us questions at ottawa.morning@ctv.ca. Even on Facebook, go to our Facebook page, ask a question there. David Martinek is here from Recycle Frog. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good to see you, my friend. You brought along a collection of things to show off today.
Yeah, the usual things that we see on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Your typical gold, so varying purities, the 10, the 14, 18. Of course, we see tons of coins.
Right.
We're seeing more and more flatware that people have inherited that they don't care about. There's no sentimental value. Little trinkets like the sterling silver cups. And then, of course, things like the Olympic coin
Collector's
sets.
edition coin sets.
Yeah, and there's a couple of different things. We'll talk maybe a little bit more about that. I'm sure there's a lot of viewers out there that have these things. I'll definitely want to talk a little bit more in detail about that.
You conducted a little experiment over the weekend, right? You checked out one of your competitors, and people are well aware, if you've not heard of other companies, other individuals involved in buying up gold, coins, silver, watches, jewelry, all that sort of thing. There are a lot of companies out there.
There are a dime a dozen, literally.
And what I find, David, mostly is many of them are fly-by-night operations that come into town, buy up things, and then they're gone.
Yeah, we call them the pirates in the industry, but we were talking a little bit off air before the cameras turned on, and I have a bit of a bee in my bonnet this morning. And whenever I go out and check out my competition, and I want to do that because I want to make sure that we're still at the top end of the range. Right. So it's in my best interest to keep monitoring what's going on in the industry.
Gotcha.
And I do that in part for our business, but also for our customers. So we can actually say to people, you know what, here's what's going on. Yeah. You talk about the fly-by-night companies. Well, there was a really large one from Toronto that was in this past weekend, and they were in the west end of Ottawa.
Here in town?
In town, yeah.
I saw those ads,
Yeah, so really large ads. I cut their name out, but they had a very large 4-page ad in the paper. Now, this literally, I know what this costs. You're talking $12,000, $15,000
for that ad?
Just one ad like this.
Absolutely.
So ton of things there.
Right.
So they're advertising everything. They want to buy, coins, gold, watches, all these different things. The reality is, and we're going to talk a little bit about the tips I want to give consumers after, but be skeptical of things like this. And you know what? I'll give them credit. This was an amazing ad. Top notch.
Sure is.
Professional, very well written. Images are crystal clear.
It makes you want to take part.
Absolutely. You're going to trust these people because this ad looks really, really great. Well, what I did was I went out with a number of different coins, some regular scrap coins, but I also snuck in some valuable coins in there.
Did you pose as a customer?
I did. I had my ball cap on. I actually went out as Dumb David. I like to go in saying, I don't know what I have, I don't know what it's worth.
Right.
And
so you played the role of
the average consumer.
Yes.
Because most people don't know what they have or how much it's worth.
And most people would go into a situation like that and actually tell them that they don't know what they have.
Which is one of the worst things you can do, and that's again one of my top tips is go in, even if you don't know what you have and you don't know what it's worth, don't tell people that.
Gotcha.
You don't put a bullet and don't put a target on yourself.
Exactly.
So I snuck in a couple of coins. I made sure I had a variety of purities of gold. I wanted to see what their processes were. They took all my coins and literally put them aside and said, there's nothing special about those coins. And I said, well, you know what? Your ad says you're looking for these specific coins. And I said, I've got a couple in there. Can you look at them? And I knew I'd already graded these. I'd had a professional, coin collector look at them, and he told me what they were worth. A little over $100 for each one of those coins, and they were willing to pay me about $1.10, $1.50, in that range.
For coins that were worth $100.
Over $100. So, that to me says, just be careful as a consumer.
Gotcha.
You need to find someone you can really trust, and that's a really difficult thing to do.
What happened when you presented them with your gold that you brought? As you mentioned, you brought different varieties of quality, right?
That's right. So the things that had clear hallmarks, they found those and they put those aside. The ones that I made sure I put in that didn't have hallmarks on them, clear stamps that said it was 10 or 14 or 18, I wanted to see what they would do, how they would test those pieces of material. They actually took them, went to a table behind where I couldn't see what they were doing. And
they took your gold items?
No, they were standing 6 feet away. So I could see them physically, but I couldn't see what they were doing in terms of their testing. So they were using an old acid test. And then he came back and he said, you know what, you've got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. To be fair, he was mostly right. there were a few things that were wrong. There were a couple of things that were 18 karat, he put in as 14.
Right.
But I had no idea what he was really doing. And when I asked him, I said, you know, can you tell me what was going on back there? He said, oh, it's really complicated. You know, to me, those red flags are
It's not
massive.
as complicated as they make out,
It's
from
not.
what I gather from you.
It's not. You know, what I say to people is be skeptical and be engaged. So those are two very important things.
All right, we're going to take our first break here, and an opportunity for people to get on the phone and ask questions. Maybe they have some valuables that they'd like assessed or wondering what to do about it and that sort of thing. But I'm going to ask David a question coming up next. If in fact this was the case when he went to see one of these dealers that came to town, why should we trust Recycle Frog to give us fair value for our items?
Yep.
The answer to that question and more coming up. There's the phone number, 613-789-6559, extension 2803. Email ottawa.morning@ctv.ca. Go to our Facebook page and post your question. Get on it right away. More with Recycle Frog on Ask the Expert coming up next.